Hello, Elisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my January show and tell. This video is all about all the things that I have been up to in the month of January and probably a little bit from December because I did not get a December show and tell out. So I have a bunch of stuff to share. Let's get into it. I have had so many things going on in December and January. The Unicorn's Journey Tarot is cruising along. I have been sharing updates for that project in both my Instagram account and also in the newsletter. Newsletter peeps are the first people to see new artwork for the deck, so if you want to make sure you are the first to see any new images, then make sure you're signed up at unicornsjourneytarot.com. Plug aside though, oh my god, I have been having the most incredible time working with Francesca on this project. It's really an exciting process and one I can't wait already to do again. So just saying, I can't imagine stopping here. But in the process of working on the Unicorn's Journey Tarot, I have also been in discussions with Llewellyn, and I actually got in my hard copy contract. I am writing a book for Llewellyn, so Llewellyn will be publishing it. It's probably a long ways out. We're at the very, very early stages, but I'm very excited about that and have also been working on that. So very excited. I'll be obviously writing a tarot book, so keep your eyes peeled for updates on that in the future. Definitely going to be a bit, but I'm very, very, very excited to be working on that, and it's well underway on my end, and I'm excited. So had to share that as like a big moment. I believe I signed the contract in December, so it's still so fresh and new. It was right before the holidays, and I've just been really swept up in all of that as well. So it's been a lot going on. Peggy and I actually have been working on some stuff. So we worked on this quilt that I'm sitting on, which I will pop a picture up on the screen somewhere so you can see it in all of its glory. Oh my gosh. So obviously Peggy is a sewing genius, and so she took care of all of the detail stuff, but I did some big chunks of the quilt. So the chunks to the side of the center panel and the chunk above and below, I did those bits, and Peggy did the corners and the center panel, and then obviously put the whole thing together and did a lot of the top stitching and stuff. I did quilt some chunks myself too. So it was a really fun project that we did together, and I'm so excited to have it on my bed. And oh my god, okay, this could technically fall into like the random section, but I have to show it now. Look at the beautiful matching pillows. I've got two of these, and they are stuffed with shredded memory foam. They are the best things ever, and they perfectly match, obviously, the unicorny theme of the quilt. I love these so much. This is possibly my favorite part of the whole thing, which is ridiculous, but I love squishy, pillowy things. So there's that. Those are the big memories for January, December, and January, I would say, other than the holidays and all the things, getting to spend time with the kids, all of that good stuff. And Peggy and I have actually been getting back to the pool, which is lovely. Going to the pool has really become an integral part of my self-care. It's really great time with Peggy. We both physically benefit from it, which is great, but also just, I don't know how to describe it. Just getting in the water that frequently has been really, really, really beneficial. And we had a big lull of being able to go during the holidays, and then we had a bunch of snow and ice and messes, and we've been getting back, which is great. So those are my big sort of memory shares. YouTube things. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was I made a tag, and there's a lot of tags related to like end of year recaps and such, and I filmed mine and then put it out. And also, so many other ones, but I did create the top 10 Tarot 22 tag, which is really for the top tarot work. What I did with it is I ranked my top 10 decks I worked with or received or became collector, whatever, in 2022. I ranked them from 10 to 1. I created that tag. I've been seeing so many fun responses to the tag. I love how people are taking it and sort of making it their own, which is really cool. My whole point, I guess, is I want people to hear your work, or you mix them, you rank them, you don't rank them, you go buy your most used deck or your favorites or whatever. And I just want to see all the ways people have personal tags. So those have been super fun to watch, and I will definitely link the full playlist with my video and all the R's in the description box down below. So definitely check those out. You might start some new channels along the way. I have been watching a bunch of Christine Rose L's channels, so I want channel. So I want to link that as well. Check it out. I really enjoy her content. She's got some really great stuff, and I find her very soothing to listen to. And oh, and the coffee tag, y'all. I know you guys have been obsessed with the coffee tag the way that I have, but Miss Ray created a tag called Coffee House Steps. I participated, a bunch of people participated. It was so fun. And quick update, for those of you who were obsessed with my tarot cloth, which was coffee themed, again, I have to do some more fabric. So she's going to be putting some of that fabric up into stuff. So I don't know when. But keep our Peggy shop if you want coffee cloth, because it was in high demand after that video, but it's so fun. It's also fun coffee stains, coffee pots, and even has a coffee pot that's coffee, which is hilarious. But it's just a bunch of fun stuff on it. So we found more of that. No time, but enough for mixing things for the shop. So keep up that. Danny, Dustin, and I had our January 3 Fat Readers all about alternative tarot systems, and you're not going to want to miss that. So I'll, of course, also link that below. But I have to say, if I were to pick the one thing that was my favorite on YouTube for all of January, it honestly has to be Marlena Teresa's video, Will She Climb? This is a short video. Please watch it. She reads a piece of her original poetry while she shows a deck. I couldn't even tell you what the deck was. It did not even matter to me. It was so good. I really enjoy Marlena's voice with her poetry. It hits me right in the feels. And Highly recommend, absolutely a favorite from January. So check that out. Again, I will have everything I talk about in these videos linked in the description box. So I will try to stop being a broken record on that, but it was so, so good. And I just think that kind of sharing can be incredibly vulnerable. And I'm so pleased that she shared it because we all get to benefit by seeing it and watching it. So yeah, I have a couple of makeup-y things to share. Well, one makeup-y thing and then several nail polish things. But let me start off with the nail polish because I actually had to trim this down because I didn't do one of these videos in December. So I can't share with you, I can't, if I shared them all, it'd be a video only about nail polish and I'm ridiculous. So one quick update. I don't know if you guys remember, I'll try to post a picture up on the screen somewhere, but I had these, what's the brand? I forget the brand. These fancy nail polishes, and the one was my favorite color ever. It was called Lilac Belt. I loved it. I wore it for the last time actually last week and had to let it go because it turns my nails yellow and I don't know what that's about. I've gotten a lot pickier about nail polish over the years, and now the nail polishes that I use are typically, I think they're like 7 free or 9 free or 10 free. They're free of a lot of the bad things, but I think that name brand, like designer brand nail polish was not, and that could be the difference. But I had a really, really good time actually, mostly through December and January, wearing some of the Holo Taco Pastel Holo polishes. These are so pretty. So I only picked 3 to show you, but I think I wore 4 or 5 of them. But I wore, I think I wore this right before Christmas. This one is called, oh, why don't I ever wear my glasses here? Mint Mojito. The funny thing is these have very summery names because they're pastel or whatever, but they were so pretty over the winter time because they've got that sort of light, almost frosty, sparkly look to them. Anyway, this one is Mint Mojito. And it's really pretty pastel green with tons of holo. And then I also wore, right at the very beginning of January, this one is called Sparkling Water, and it's a light blue. This one is gorgeous for a really light blue. So pretty. And then this one is a pink, and this one are a lavenderish color, and it's called, oh, Pink Fizz. So there's Pink Fizz. So pretty. So I had a lot of fun with these. Love these. But my favorite polish probably to wear over the last month or so has been this one. This is a textured polish. I don't know if you guys remember. Anybody who's into nail polish probably remembers, but these textured, I think the first one that I ever tried was called Liquid Sand, and I think it was an OPI brand. Anyway, one of my favorite nail polish brands is Zoya, and Zoya has a few of these, and they're called Pixie Dust, and I literally saved this for New Year's intentionally, but I wore this for New Year's, and this is called Tomoko, and it is a gold, like champagne-y gold liquid sand. Well, not liquid sand, sorry, pixie dust, so it's textured. So when your nails are done with this, what I love about textured polishes like this is they have this kind of gritty, sparkly, thick textured look to them. I don't know how to describe that. I'm not making it sound very pleasant, but they literally are like sparkly sand on your nails. They're literally like sparkling sand on your nails. And the cool thing about that is I feel like they're very sturdy. I don't usually put a top coat on them. If you do, they don't look textured anymore. It really smooths them out. But with the texture, I feel like my nails can take a little bit of a beating, so to speak, and still actually hold up really well. So I love a textured polish too if I know I'm going to be doing stuff with my hands and I want my polish to look a little bit more sturdy. Anyway, or be a little more sturdy. Anyway, I really love this, and the champagne color was like perfect for New Year's. I will definitely wear this one again, but I had so much fun wearing this in January. And then this one is the one I'm wearing right now, so I had to show it. Although I had a weird incident with it, which I'll talk to you guys about. But this is the Mooncat A Midsummer's Dream. I love this polish so much. So first of all, it typically, once it's on my nails, it stays on my nails really well, but it's this like pink with like a lavender blue shift. So it's what's on my nails right now. You can really see the color. Weirdly though, I decided to put a third coat of this on, which was probably my mistake. And then I covered it with a top coat, Sèche Vite, that usually dries it really fast. And then I did something and my entire left thumb, let's see if I can show it to you. It like crumpled up and scooched to one side. And then I was able to weirdly smush it back into place. It still looks bad, but at least it's not like a half naked nail. So that was weird. I must have gotten something in underneath the nail, and I just clipped my nails really short. So probably whenever my nails are this short, I can't really paint the free edge with polish, so it chips quicker usually. But anyways, I really love this polish. And last time I wore this polish, it lasted like a full week with almost no chips. So once it's dry, I feel like this one's sturdy, and because it's lighter colored, I feel like it doesn't show chips as often. There's something about that. Darker colors, as soon as it's even a little chipped, you can totally see it. Anyway, but my favorite makeup thing by far in January and a bit in December, I think, is the, oh, it's very reflective here. Hello. I'm in front of my window. It is the Pat McGrath Night Sun Mothership palette. Oh, this might be my absolute favorite. I'm wearing it right now. I'm wearing a coppery, let's see if I can bring my face in. I'm wearing the coppery colors. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. So all of these colors I love. This one looks a little bit more like blue periwinkle. Let's see if I can bring this in without, there we go. So I love all of these colors, but I'm wearing right now this like really coppery penny color here with a little bit of that red, the browns. The neutrals in here are gorgeous. They're a little bit, these two browns, oh, let's do it this way so you don't have to see the mirror. Hold on, let's see if I can do it. How do people do this? Anyways, these two browns are pretty neutral. Then there's this red, which I love. But there's a purple, a copper, a very light gold, almost the exact same color actually as this Pixie polish. And I don't know why, but Pat McGrath always puts a gold in all of her palettes, but this is like my favorite gold of any of them. It's like a little bit more toned down, like less yellowy, more like champagne-y. And this sparkly shade is out of this world. It's one of those sheer base, you put it all over. I have a little bit of it on because every time I use this, I have to put a little bit of it, but I've done a green look. I've done a purple look. I'm now wearing the copper look. I've used all of this. I did purple and gold, green and gold. Oh my gosh, I've had so much fun with this one. So this one, definitely a favorite. And I got it because it was on like some killer sale a while back. And I think I got it for like 40% off or 50% off or something. But it is like with the green, the purple, and the warm coppery colors, I feel like what else do I need? I mean, obviously I have plenty of other eyeshadow palettes, but I'm just saying it's like been a favorite. TV and movies. Peggy and I have watched the first couple of episodes of Wednesday. I definitely want to continue watching that series. It's a lot of fun. Wednesday's personality is something else. If you haven't watched this and you are even a little bit of a fan of the Addams Family, or even if like, I wouldn't even have considered myself a fan of the Addams Family, but I love it. So it's not something that I think I would like rewatch over and over and over again, but it's fun. Like I said, I love the quips. I love Wednesday's personality. I still have no idea where the show is going because like I said, we've only seen the first 2 or 3 episodes, I think now. So we're going to continue to watch that. That's been a lot of fun. And then I have been rewatching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And this led me down. So this all started because I finally decided to pre-order the Inside Editions Buffy the Vampire Slayer tarot deck. So I will be definitely keeping you guys posted on all of that. But in preparation, that deck comes out, I believe, in March. In preparation, I was like, I need to like refresh my Buffy brain. And I do have the full series on DVD, but I've been watching it up here in Canada, it's on Disney+. I think in the States, it's on Hulu. But I've been rewatching it. It's been a lot of fun. And then a friend of mine told me about the Buffering the Vampire Slayer podcast. And that has been the most fun thing ever because there's an episode of the Buffering the Vampire Slayer podcast. They rewatched it and basically commented on it. So there's one full podcast episode for every episode of Buffy. And I can listen to podcasts on Google Podcasts on like 3 speed if I want to, which if you're me is amazing. I would listen to it usually at 2 or 2.2 or something like that. So, I mean, I'm weird. I like to listen to everything fast, but I've been really enjoying watching an episode or two and then getting caught up on the podcast and kind of bouncing back and forth. That has been a ton of fun and just getting commentary on it and thinking about the episode and like, yeah, I love Buffy. Buffy's one of I guess it's probably my #1 comfort television show. I've watched it during some of the most challenging times in my life, and it's such a palate cleanser. Do you ever have a show that's like a palate cleanser for life for you? That's what Buffy is for me. So I'm really enjoying rewatching it. That's been a ton of fun. All right, I have a whole bunch of random stuff to talk about, and then we'll get into books and decks, which is my usual MO here. So random things. The first thing, I'm so excited to show you this. So this is something that I made and I'm so freaking proud of it. So I don't think I brought an example. You know those composition books, you know, they're black and white kind of modeled covers, you know, I'll put a picture up for reference. I got some of those so that I could do some very specific journal work. I'm doing some like inner child work and such. And I made a cover for my composition book and look how cute it is. So this is what the whole cover looks like. Isn't it so cute? So then on the, it's basically like flaps, right? So you got the flaps on each side, and it's fully lined with a coordinating fabric. And I even put an elastic pen loop on the end, and I put in on the pen loop my Edison Beaumont unicorn fountain pen, and I filled it up with my favorite pink ink, which unfortunately is not unicorn blood, at least for this notebook. I like Black Swan and Australian Roses for my favorite pink. It's like a darker pink. I really like that ink. So now I have a pink ink and a fancy pen and a homemade cover. I'm so proud of this sewing project. Y'all, living with Peggy, let me tell you, I can sew anytime I want, and she totally helped me when I was like stuck on like making sure wanting to make sure my measurements were right. But like I did all my math myself, figured out the sizing, and it fits perfectly. Like there's like no... There's not really any wiggle room at all on this. It fits it like a glove, but it like stays flat. Like, you know, if something's too tight of a cover, it'll like kind of open. It's perfect. I'm so proud. And look at the unicorns. Aren't they cute? So cute. Anyways, I'm really proud of this. I had to show this off. I'm so happy about this. Obviously, my quilt, did I already show a picture of my quilt in this video? Yes, I did. But yes, my quilt is an absolute favorite. And my pillows, I already talked about my pillows. So on the subject of textiles, another favorite thing is my 2-pocket wrap I was using in January. Okay, so confession time. So I have that larger carry case that I got that I showed in a previous show and tell. And I do like that when I'm carrying multiple decks in my journal and it's got all the pockets. But I kind of missed just having 2 decks in my 2-pocket wrap and being able to open it up and do my readings. So I've kind of switched back. I mean, I still have the other case and I can still use it when I want to carry a whole bunch of like more than 2. But this is one of my favorite wraps that Peggy ever made me. And I just love how when you open it all, I love this backing color for when I'm taking photos of my spreads. And look at this. Isn't that pretty? I love this one. And this one's kind of a little bit floppier because I've had it for longer and it's like broken in and like extra like, you know when cotton gets kind of, it's not fuzzy, but it almost has that fuzzy quality to it. This has that, and I love it. So I use this pretty much all throughout January to carry my decks around and do my daily spreads and all that kind of stuff. So had to highlight that. I actually get reach outs a lot from companies who want me to show their products or like be some kind of brand ambassador or whatever. And most of those I delete, I file, I don't respond. They're not my thing. Sometimes they're really out to like left field, right? But I did in the last couple of months, actually this first one was like several months ago, hear from this one company who wanted to send me the cutest Bluetooth speaker. So I admit I completely caved, but I was not going to talk about it until I had tried it out, made sure it was like something that I actually enjoyed, decent quality. Now that being said, I do think this is kind of pricey and you kind of have, it's very kitschy and you kind of have to decide for yourself if this is something you want to actually spend money on. But I will have a link down below if you want to check it out. I was too tempted to like resist, but I'll show you. It's super cute. But it is, I've seen these elsewhere. I've seen these on like people's tech channels where they do a lot of like unboxings of like video game stuff. But anyways, it's so cute. Plus it comes in the cutest packaging. Look, there's like this cute little gift. I should tell you what it is. It's the Divoom is the brand, Divoom, and this is the Ditu Pro. And it's like a Bluetooth speaker that looks like a little computer. And they send it in this like really cute, sturdy, like, what do you even call it? It's almost like a little vending machine or something, but you open it up. And you guys, when I tell you, first of all, this thing has some weight. It's like not made out of like this cheap plastic. Like it's sturdy. The speaker part is up here. Let me turn this on. And it has a little mechanical keyboard. Are you kidding? Look how cute it is. Anyways, so I have mine set. It's connecting to my phone, I think now. I have mine set so that it gives me the time. So this is the time I'm filming this right now. And then it has this thing that like has sound waves. So like when I'm playing stuff on it, I get sound waves, but it's got all these like things it does. There's like little games and oh my God, they're like little old fashioned, like 8-bit, like really 8-bit. Cause this is like an 8-bit screen, right? Like little video games. And when I got this in, Peggy and I sat on my bed and like just traded this thing back and forth and played the little games. But like, look at these little buttons. There's like this little not joystick, lever-like thing that actually does stuff. And then these are all buttons to like adjust the volume. Wait, did I push the wrong one? I did. You can change between these different artworks and you can get them from their app. Look at the unicorn one I put on this. Isn't that so cute? I remember I did a video, I think for my members, you can have the song title or the lyrics scroll on the screen. What's that one? Oh yeah, there's my clock again. But you can turn the volume up or down with these buttons. It's so satisfying to click it. And you can turn RGB on and actually have color underneath this tiny little mini key. This is the kitschiest, silliest thing ever that I'm so glad that I have. And I was happy here, right? But then, hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find something I can actually play that's not like copyrighted. Hold on, give me a second. I'll be right back. You know what? Let's listen to a few seconds of the Buffering the Vampire Slayer podcast. I bet we can do that. Let's just so you can hear how big the sound is on this thing. Okay. I'm going to play a few seconds of the Buffering the Vampire Slayer podcast because it should be fine to play a few seconds of that and not get dinged for anything. But you can see the little sound waves go on this. The volume on this, as you can see, is set to about, like there's the bars. It's set to about half or less. And this is what it sounds like on the podcast.
Factually speaking,
in quotes,
the seal is taken, the mummy rises, the life gets sucked out of Rodney.
And then the worst thing ever happens, which is that the dehydrated mummy's eye sockets open.
Oh, those eyes.
So what?
Okay, hopefully you get the idea. That is like turned fairly low. Like this thing, when you play music on it, is shockingly loud. And my hand is actually getting a little sore from holding this. This has weight. Anyways, I thought this was the coolest thing. I've had a lot of fun playing with it. I don't need anything else as far as a Bluetooth speaker is concerned. And you can, it's got a thing on the back so that you can actually plug, it's rechargeable. So it's USB-C, if I remember. Yeah, it's USB-C. There is a spot for like a micro SD memory card. So I guess you can load music into it directly, but you can just keep this thing plugged in on your desk or whatever. And it's always running. There's like reminders you can load up on it. It's got all these productivity things. You can design your own art to show up on the screen. Like, I don't know how deep I'm going to get into it, y'all, but I like it. It's cute. It looks like a tiny little keyboard and computer, and it's pink and it has great sound. I'm done. I'm in. I'm good. I liked it. What can I say? And the other thing, the other company that I heard from, and this was actually right at the end of, no, I guess it was right at the beginning of January. And this was one where I was like, I don't know, but it was a stationery company. And y'all know I love my journals and my pens and my notebooks. And this is a company where everything looked really inexpensive. So the company is Stationery Pal. They offered to send me some things. I actually unboxed everything on a members only video because, again, I wasn't sure what I was going to get and I wanted to check it out before deciding how I felt about anything. And I was like really impressed, y'all. So Stationery Pal is the company. Again, I will have a link to them down below so you can check them out if you want to. They gave me an affiliate code, so it is an affiliate link if that's not your deal. I totally get it. I don't really care. I'm not invested if y'all go spend your money here, but I did have a really nice experience. I did really like their stuff. And I heard from one of my members who did end up placing an order that the shipping to the US, because it ships from China, the shipping to the US I think was around $15 US, which I know for people in the US seems expensive. In Canada, that's like normal to cheap. So that wouldn't really deter me personally, but they have sales. Like I think they have a New Year's sale still on right now where like everything, well not everything, but a bunch of stuff is like 30% off. Anyway, let me show you what I got because I'm really happy with everything. So I got this zippered carrying like pencil pouch, and I've seen these type of like designs for pencil pouches around online, and I thought they were really cool. But as you can see, it's got this like side zipper because you can actually make it thinner, like flatter, but mine is jam-packed because I've got my personal stuff in here as well as all the stuff that I got from them. So I've got mine full, but this holds all of my like journaling, day-to-day pens and highlighters and things that I use. So let me show you the inside because I really like how this is set up. So when you first open it, you get this part. You have a zippered pouch over here where I have some ink cartridges and replacement friction pen ink. And then you have a really cool like flap that has 5 pen loops. And this is perfect because you guys, I use these. These are things I already had. These pens right here. These are the Friction brand, Pilot Friction brand highlighters. I have talked about this before, but I use Friction everything, and Pilot is a Japanese brand, and it's sometimes not always easy to find their stuff. There's more and more of it showing up, I feel like, on like US Amazon or Canadian Amazon. But these Friction highlighters, I got my first set from Dawn Michelle as a gift. It was really sweet of her to send me some. And I used them until they ran dry. I use these everywhere in my planners because I can highlight things and then I can erase the highlights. Amazing. Also, it's been amazing when I want to highlight in a book, but I want to be able to erase it. I live and breathe these highlighters. And also everything by Pilot Friction. And I have to admit that's one of the things that got me sucked into ordering from them because they had some Pilot Friction stuff. So I've got, like, inside I've got all of this all of this stuff. So I'll just show you some of my favorite things. So I was able to get two new, hold on, I made a mess in here. Okay, I was able to get two new colors of friction highlighters that I've never seen on anywhere on Amazon or anything like that. And it's this really pretty, this is actually red, it looks pink on the cap, but this is a red friction highlighter and a gray, a really nice neutral gray friction highlighter. And this is great because, again, I use these friction highlighters all the time. I didn't even say what friction is. It's erasable. It's friction erasable. I love these in my planners because I like to make a mess and be able to erase it. So anyways, I was able to get two new colors of friction erasers. And then they also had a line of, I don't think I ever saw these anywhere in the States or in Canada. These are a brand, I think they're limited edition even, of friction. I got like 5 colors. I'm just digging them all out. Of friction pens that are sparkly. They're sparkly, glittery ink, and they're erasable. Does it get any better than that? Yeah, I think I fished them all out. Okay, so yes, there's 5. So I've got a green one. They're called Caisse Lame. Oh, and that's the other thing. I thought that when I got this stuff in, what I was really looking for is if this stuff looked like knockoffs. Everything I got was exactly what I thought I was going to get. Like if it was Pilot Friction, it was clear that it was name brand Pilot Friction. Everything had the right information on it. It was not knockoff. That made me real happy. Anyways, so these are official Pilot Friction branded, and they are, yeah, again, Caisse Lame. And I have a green one, a pink one, a purple one, a blue one, and a gold one. Let me see if I can hold these up so you can kind of see. I don't know how exciting this is to just hold the pens, but I like pens and stationery. Anyways, so this is what those look like. And yeah. And these were really reasonably priced. I think they're like $6 or $7 a piece, I think, on their website. And they might be on sale right now. But I'm really excited. These are glittery. I've already used them a few times. They are glittery. They're sparkly. They have the little eraser tips, so they erase really well. So excited. So excited. I also got a Tombow brand mono mechanical pencil. So this is and I got it in this pink color. So this is a really nice mechanical pencil. It has an eraser that like twists up so that as you use it up, you can just twist it up and get more eraser. And it came with like even a separate, like totally full-size regular like white eraser, which is still in its plastic because I have not needed it yet. So I got that. And again, everything quality-wise was exactly what I expected. And then I got these I could not pass up. There's only 2 things left, I think. Yes. So these are cheap fountain pens. So these just have a regular like fine point basic steel nib, nothing fancy. And each one came with several ink cartridges. So I feel like if I... So, update. I was trying to show you some really inexpensive, other than this pouch, the only non-name brand thing that I got from Stationery Pal were these really inexpensive fountain pens. And they were really cute. They were licensed Sanrio. They were Hello Kitty, cinnamon roll. Anyways, they were super cute. But I went to open. As you can see, I have ink all over my hands. This is after scrubbing and scrubbing. Where's the worst spot? There's one of the worst spots. Not that bad now that I've scrubbed, but I was covered in blue ink. Anyways, I went to open the one to show you the nib, and ink went everywhere. Onto my brand new quilt, onto my lap, all over my hands. It had pooled, like it had literally leaked so badly that the ink had pooled, like there was a collection of ink in the cap. So as soon as I opened it, the ink just went all over everything. Do not recommend the off-brand cheap fountain pens from Stationery Pal. However, everything else I got was friction branded, name brand, and I'm pretty happy with. But that was a chance because I took it on a brand I didn't recognize. So, but everything else, real cute. It's all friction branded stuff. It's fine. But leaky fountain pens all over myself, not a fun time. In any case, other than that, it had been, like right up until that very moment, it had been a pretty positive experience. So take that with a grain of salt. If you like cheap stationery, maybe check it. Maybe only get brands you recognize or get things that you're relatively confident aren't going to be an issue if you don't like them, that kind of a thing. But in general, it was really fun to be able to play around with this. I'm happy with all of the other pens and pencil stuff that I got, the highlighters. So yeah. Probably not going to take a chance on an off-brand cheapy fountain pen because there are plenty of on-brand cheap fountain pens. I love my Japanese Pilot Kakunos. I love Lamy Safaris are great. Kakunos are like they're so cheap. They're so cheap and they're so good. And they've never leaked on me. I've tossed them in bags. I've chucked them around. I've carried them in pockets. Never a problem. So like, yeah, I'm going to stick with the brands that I know for fountain pens for sure. Because that was a leaky, awful mess. Anyways, but I'm really happy with this little case actually. And really happy with the friction stuff. So we're moving on. It is time to talk about books and then decks. So I have a few books to talk about. As I was getting ready to start work on the book for Llewellyn, I read a couple of books on writing that I really, really enjoyed. The first of these is basic, high-quality writing advice. It's called On Writing Well by William Zinsner. Zinsner. This is what the cover looks like. This is a really great go-to book on how to write in general and has a lot of really great tips, tons of great nonfiction writing advice in here. I really enjoyed this. But this doesn't even hold a candle to the incredibly awesome time I had reading this incredibly boring sounding book, which is Dreyer's English. And it says, an utterly correct guide to clarity and style. If I told you that this was an absolutely entertaining read about grammar and writing style, I'm not sure you would believe me, but just trust and believe. This was so stinking good. It was absolutely hilarious. It's chock full of all of these really, really entertaining footnotes the entire way through. It was incredibly engaging. This was fun. This was fun. This was good. This was awesome. This was fun, so I really, really, really loved this. A lot of notes on style. Benjamin Dreyer is the Random House copy chief and managing editor. And it was so good. It was so good. Anyways, I couldn't rave about that enough. I really enjoyed that. And I never in a million years would have thought I'd been on here raving about a book about grammar, but it was a good one. It was a really good one. And then I finally finished Magical Fairy Tales, an Enchanted Collection of Retold Tales by Lucy Cavendish. This has got artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. If you like Lucy Cavendish's writing and you are even a little bit into fairy tales, check this out. It's a beautiful book. The stories are wonderful in here. There's even a completely original story, and it's got Jasmine Beckett Griffith's artwork throughout. In fact, the original story by Lucy Cavendish was my favorite story in the whole book. Where is it here? It's called The Ninth Wave. The Ninth Wave. And there's some artwork. Really, really good. But it's not just fairy tale retellings, which I think is what makes it so awesome. So, for example, there's Beauty and the Beast in here. Oh, my son's going. I had that ink incident, and now my light is leaving me. Anyway, after you finish reading the story, there's a section after every story that says, Discover the Magic of. And it'll break down the symbols and talk about them from a witchy perspective. So the history of the story, a bit about say in Beauty and the Beast, it talks about the wolf moon, talks about winter solstice, talks about Mabon or Mab. They'd renamed the main character in this book and talk about that. They talk about laws of hospitality, chocolate, a way to open the heart. And then there's usually some kind of spell or ritual that you can do as well. So in this case, it is a ritual called Beauty and the Beast and the Enchanted Library. And it's a spell about Book of Shadow spell, which is really cool. There's more here. But yeah, so I really like how it brings that sort of witchy element into fairy tales, which I haven't seen anybody else do before. It's quite a big, you can see, it's quite a big book, but it's one I'm definitely keeping and will go back to again and again. It was a lot of fun, and I love books on fairy tales, so this was great. And speaking of books on fairy tales and stories and myths, I also finally read an illustrated treasury of Scottish folk and fairy tales. This one is by Teresa Breslin, and I believe the illustrations are Kate Leiper. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous book. I would say this is definitely geared at younger people. It's illustrated and written as though the perfect book for readings for story time. It's kind of got that vibe to it. But I really the illustrations are beautiful. It's all Scottish. I'm trying to find a good. It's all Scottish, but it's really, really just a gorgeous book, beautiful experience. I really want the other two books in this series. There's one called Scottish Castle Legends and another one called Scottish Myths or Scottish Monsters, Beasts and Monsters, or Mythical Creatures, something like that. But there's one all about mythical creatures of Scotland. So this is really, really beautiful. It helped me connect to the lore of this part of the world, and I just really, really enjoyed it. This actual story that's illustrated by... that's illustrated on the cover It is all about a stoorworm. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. There's even actually a little glossary in the back of some of the words that are specific to sort of Scottish language. What do you call it? Slang, maybe? That's in the back. So that was super useful. But it's a pretty book. It was a lot of fun to read. Oh, one random thing I forgot to talk about. Oh my God. Okay, so I've been obsessed with this. Like to the point where, just really obsessed. And we went to Costco and found this brand. The brand is J-Way, and it is boba tea. Oh my God. If you like bubble tea, okay, this is bubble tea. It's a kit. So here's the different flavors. There's, I'm trying to peek under the box. Can you tell? It comes with regular milk tea mix, a taro milk tea mix, a creme brulee milk tea mix, and then a passion fruit pineapple green tea with fruity boba mix. But it's not just the like milk tea, it's all, or the boba or the, fruit green tea. It's also the boba like pearls. And so basically, I'll show you how this kit is arranged. When you open it up, this is what it looks like. So you have paper straws in the back, enough for one for every tea. And then for every tea, they're sort of packaged like this. You get a mix packet like this, and then you get a boba packet. So like most of the teas have this brown sugar boba, and you like rip the corner of this, and then you can microwave it, or you can, I think you can boil it in water. And then for like 20-30 seconds, you mix up your powder in hot water so it can all dissolve. And then you pour that over ice, you add extra milk or water, and then you add your boba. And then you stir it all up and you drink it, and it's incredible. It's so good. Even the green tea one with the fruity boba was really, really good. I love all of them. And this brings me to another little random favorite that I forgot, which is this beautiful pottery that I got when Peggy and I found a local potter in our area. We were driving around. They were doing sales out of their front lawn, I guess, their front door. And they had a little display, and we stopped, and I got this. And we also got a beautiful piece for the wall that I'll try to pop a picture in somewhere on the screen. But this was sold as a wine glass, and I've used it a bunch as a stemless wine glass, which is amazing. It works great for red wine that way because it's, stemless. But this is also my boba tea mixing bowl. So I will pour my little packet of boba tea powder in here, and then, because you only use like a 1/4 cup of hot water, I'll pour the hot water in, I'll whisk it all together so that this part's done, pour this over ice, and then add my other like ingredients, and it's been perfect. But I do use this a lot for either red wine, or I've also used it just as like if I'm having like a little glass of milk or something, I'll use this, wash it out, use it again. I love pottery, and this one is so beautiful. And I forget the name of this glaze that she does. I can't remember. Anyways, I will try to have a link to the potter down below also for you if you want to check that out. And the boba pearls are at Costco, but I think you can find smaller sets from the same brand on Amazon. So I'll try to link those because those will probably be easier for everybody to get a hold of, because I know Costco changes what they have based on where you live and stuff. Anyways, those were random things. So books and some more random. That's what we're doing. Now we're going to talk about decks. So I have to start off by talking about the Heart Align Affirmation Oracle. Oh my God. I don't even know how to describe my experience with this deck. So this is an affirmation-based deck, just like what it says on the tin, well, on the box. And Kim Sand did such a gorgeous job with this. First of all, check out the great, if I don't throw it on the ground, check out the gorgeous foiling. And then the cards themselves are very simple. They're pastel colors. Get you a different color here. With an affirmative message and a little spot gloss. You can see it there, heart. And so the idea is that you can read your message and then place your thumb on that little spot gloss heart and like soak up the message. And I thought this was super clever. I've already said this in another video. I can't remember where I talked about this recently, but I did talk about it recently. But I thought that was like clever and innovative and kind of fun, but like I didn't really think too much about it until I was having a rough week. I really needed some affirmations, and the fact that I could put my thumb on the message, it tipped this over the edge to feel like a real potent self-care tool, not just, I don't know, it felt deeper. And it helps that the messages in here, like speak your truths, are messages that came out of a dark night of the soul experience that Kim had. And so it comes from a place of somebody who was really struggling and needed something like this. And so there's a lot of depth in this. I would say it's more than meets the eye is the best way I know how to express it. But I was carrying this thing around like it was like a comfy baby blanket or something. Like it was like my emotional crutch there for a few days. And it really, really supported me when I was like, I was just beside myself, and I'm fine, but I just needed that extra boost so badly. And this was there for me. And it had such a significant impact on me that I can't not mention it. It is an absolute favorite for, basically ever since early January when I first started playing with it. Oh my gosh. Incredible. Incredible. Early in January, I worked with 2 decks side by side that I had a really great experience with both of these. The Tarot of Oneness, y'all. This deck is so freaking good. This is so good. It's a deck that's all in first person perspective. I have not, to be fair, I have not worked with the guidebook a ton, and I do love me a good guidebook, don't get me wrong, but hello, I want this last card. I didn't work with the guidebook because it's such a powerful, like snappy, intuitive reader for me, this deck. And I thought because it was first person that it was only really going to work for myself, but oh my gosh, it works so well when I'm reading for others. I'm pretty sure I used this in my December member readings, if I remember correctly, for my Magical Unicorn membership tier. But I used it a lot. I used it for client readings. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. It is so good. And the fact that it puts you in the card, it's like, I've talked about how the Tarot of Curious Creatures is sort of like an instant path working deck because the personalities of the cards come through right away and like you can feel the card right away. This is like that, but it's completely different. It's like the Tarot of Curious Creatures is kind of like you're having conversations with other characters, whereas this feels like you're just immersed in the environment and then you're having whatever experience is depicted on the card. I should be showing you guys more cards. I'm sorry. I'm just over here talking with my hands, not showing anything. It is so incredible. I just have nothing but positive things to say about this deck. I already showed this card. It's so good. Look at this Queen of Swords. And they're memorable. They're so intensely memorable. And I love how the kings are like basically a crown that's right there in front of you for you to put on your head, if that makes any sense. They feel very empowering. It feels very, it's so good. I'm literally at a loss for words. Anyways, I wanted to work with that for myself and it did not disappoint. It was an incredible deck to work with just to read for myself. And I actually paired it with this Modern Nirvana Oracle. This was sent to me by one of the creators. It actually showed up as a surprise, like on my doorstep from Amazon. I wasn't expecting it. And they had sent it to me. And I wasn't sure what to think about this. I'm not sure it's the kind of thing that I would have bought, but I was curious about it. But it has this mix of cards with artwork on them. And then you get cards that have sigils. Are we going to see any of those now? I feel like there's a lot of them in the deck. Hold on. Let me find some of those. Did I separate them or something? I'm literally finding none of them now that I said that. They're like all hiding. That's rude, deck. There we go. Here's one that says the Rose Phoenix. So like when I pull this card, that means nothing to me. The sigil means nothing. Even the title doesn't really mean anything. A lot of these other ones have really good keywords like abundance or initiation. And those are really, really great. But the sigil ones, I was like, I don't know, man. But then, because they were sigils, I went to the guidebook. And by the way, the guidebook has this weird quality where like when you open it, like it feels like it's broken. Like it's hard to describe. It's not. It's perfectly fine. And it actually makes it so that it lays flat, which is really kind of neat. But the binding does this, well, I guess it doesn't lay flat, but the binding does this weird pokey thing. I don't know how to describe it. I've never had another guidebook like it. But anyways, when I went to, what was the one I just said? Synthesis. So they're alphabetical in the guidebook. So when you go to Synthesis, there's that Rose Phoenix one. Yeah, here we go. When you go to Synthesis, you get the write-up, which the write-ups are really good. And then you get a little meditation. And they're super simple, easy meditations. I just noticed this one is inviting me to visualize a spider. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that one. It's probably good. I'm just like, that's the one. That's the example I find. Oh my God, my son is totally going. Anyways, the guidebook is really good. The entries are good. And I love the little rituals. There's some breath work I've encountered in here. A bunch of other really cool things. And most of the cards have little mantras on them as well. Do all of them? Do even the sigil ones have mantras? Yeah, even the sigil ones have mantras. It's a very interesting, I'd say, like sort of interactive kind of deck, but it's definitely one that I would use with the guidebook. It's not one that I would use for others. Like I feel like the work is like working with the cards, reading the messages, maybe doing the exercises or the meditations. And I think it has a lot to offer. Again, it's not one that I feel like I'm going to think to reach for a lot. So we'll see if it lasts in my collection that way, but it was actually really cool to work with. And if you like the kind of decks where you can sort of get into them and sort of pull a card and then really spend time with that card and sit with it for a while. And if this appeals to you, you should check it out. I think it's really well done. It's one of those that I'm just not sure where it's going to sit, but I had a really great experience with this. I have nothing negative to say. I'm just ultimately not sure if it's the kind of thing I'm going to think about. The next deck that I worked with in January, I don't even have to show you because I've already put it back in its box and put it in my purgatory drawer. And it is the Tarot of an Enchanted Soul. Oh, so I'm gutted about that one. That one, I'm pretty sure, I think I already said in my anti-haul that I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. It read fine. It's pretty. It was too difficult for me to handle. The cards were too big and I could trim it, but I realized I wasn't in love with it enough to want to take that step to trim it. So it's going to go find a new home, but it is a beautiful, beautiful deck. I have other things that compete with it. If you want all my thoughts on that, definitely check out my last anti-haul. You can hear me talk about the decks I'm not keeping and I talk about it in there, but I'm glad I gave it a try. I felt like by like the third or fourth day I was working with just that deck, I was ready to stop. And that's usually a good sign that I'm not clicking with it. It's not feeling like a deck I want to work with. That's a pretty good indicator of like how things are going for me. So yeah, I let that one go. But then I had a really, really lovely week working with the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. I've got mine in a Peggy bag. Let me show you the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. This is by Phyllis Curott and Danielle Barlow, I believe is the artist. Yeah, Danielle Barlow. And this is a gorgeous deck. I've talked about this before. This is sort of like my witchy home deck to a degree. I had a really great experience with it. I had less of a good experience. How do I describe this? I had a good experience, but it wasn't as good as the first time I worked with this, like for a dedicated chunk of time, but it was still good. It was exactly what I needed. I do find that these cards are uncomfortable to shuffle. They're a little bit thick and stiff and they're a little large. Now I've heard, I don't know if it's confirmed, but I've heard that this is going to be coming out in a pocket size. And I don't know I think this full size version that came with the bag and whatever is going out of print. I think, don't quote me on that, but I've heard a rumor and that it's going to come back in a pocket size, but it is a really beautiful deck with an alternative system. So it's really cool. The majors are reversed, but there is a little guide even in the back of the book that I've page marked with a little sticky that literally has a diagram of which card is equivalent to which, so you can easily figure that out. And I think it's pretty obvious most of the time what card you're looking at, even if the number isn't the number you're used to seeing. So, but the messages in here are really great. I love Phyllis Curott's writing. I think that it's got a very witchy vibe because there's in here usually a little bit of magic you can do, as well as your basic messages, a good keyword, that kind of thing. So really enjoy the Witch's Wisdom. And I paired it with the Woodland Wardens. And oh my gosh, this deck, you guys, this was sent to me as a gift. And I don't think I would have ever purchased this on my own. And I am so stinking glad that I have this. This is such an amazing deck. If you want an oracle deck that you can use like a tarot, that has a really good balance of cards, that has animals and plants and incorporates the meaning and the information about the animal and the plant in that meaning. I mean, it's so well done. This is by Jessica Rue. It's really gorgeous. Love the backings. It's on this kind of papery feeling, really matte, kind of uncoated feeling, almost cardstock, but it's really, really lovely and comfy to shuffle. And my copy hasn't like warped or done anything weird. And I riffle, shuffle, and do all the things. It's got a really soft, gentle vibe to it. It's really comforting to use. It paired beautifully with Witch's Wisdom. It looks gorgeous next to Oak, Ash, and Thorn. But I really, really love this. If you want a good, like, animal-y kind of deck, and there's a keyword on every card. Like, it literally ticks my boxes. So here we have raccoon and sycamore, and the word is curiosity. Good, expansive keyword. Here we have the owl and hop, and it's wisdom. The eel and iris is safety. The coyote and datura is deceit. So there's both like sort of lighter, more shadowier cards. And the guidebook is so lovely. I feel like I have to show you because it's an experience. But when you open it up, you have a black and white illustration. And on the other side, you have your write-up with that, like, what do you call those? The illuminated letters that started off. And it has really good questions at the end of every entry, which you could totally use as journal prompts or to use to jump off into a tarot spread from the one card pull. You guys, don't sleep on this. This is mass market. It's so good. I freaking love it. It's so good. It's very, very safe in my collection, and I'm pretty pleased. So it's mass market, again, affordable, easy to find, and oh my gosh, this with Witch's Wisdom, this was the showstopper for me that week, was this one. Y'all, the shadows though. I'm like losing all of my light. I gotta hurry. Okay. Okay, also in January, I worked with, and oh my gosh, this deck, the Tarot of a Holy Spectrum, the Infinity Edition, is real shiny. I'm telling you, I'm warning you now. It's shiny and it's very, very reflective. Like, you can see my camera. Reflective is very reflective. This deck freaking knocked my socks off. I don't even know. So this was the deck that stole the show during my monthly member readings from a Magical Unicorn tier. I usually bring a selection of decks, and a lot of times people will request one of the decks from the selected list, or they'll let me pick my own deck, like pick the deck I want to use for their reading. And almost every single time somebody said you can pick the deck, I picked this one. We got along so well, and that was my first time testing this deck. And in fact, a lot of times now, if I have new decks that come into my collection, I actually try them out for the first time in my live member readings, because it's a great way to see how the deck reads, how it's going to work out. It has, again, it's very shiny and reflective. It's beautiful. All the smudginess does not, my fingerprints and stuff don't bother me at all, which is weird because normally it would. But they even give you a little cloth with this deck that you can use to like wipe the backs. I have not even once wanted to wipe the backs. There's something about it having my fingerprints that I almost kind of weirdly like. And yeah, I don't know. I'm having a whole experience with this deck, but I'm really loving it. So I used it in member readings, and I also used it for myself, and it just did not disappoint. It reads really well. I don't know what it is. It just speaks to me. It feels kind of like punky. Y'all, I don't know anything about punk or anything, but that's what it feels like to me. And I don't know how else to describe that. It feels a little bit rebellious, but in a helpful way. I don't know how else to say that either. I was really getting off on like sinking into the colors and sometimes linking in the chakras, which worked more often than it did not work, which was amazing. There's also some really interesting things happening in here. Like some of these cards have, I want to find a good example. Some of them have like a dotted line situation. And whenever that shows up, it feels like an illustration of spirit. So like here in the Temperance card, you have this like hand that's outlined in dotted lines, and it feels like it's spirit holding your hand in the Temperance card, or holding the figure's hand. And there's a few other places those dotted lines show up, and it feels, again, exactly like spirit. Let me see if I can find another example. Okay, like in the Hanged One card, it's called the Tethered One, and it's like your energy body is hovering outside of your physical body. It's really cool. It's really cool. I don't know. I had a really, really, really great experience with this deck, both in reading for other people, but then in the week that I spent with it just doing readings for myself, it was really good, and I was excited to pull it out every single day. Again, really a good indicator of how I'm getting on with the deck, but I'm really looking forward to reaching for it. And I paired it with the Whispers of Lord Ganesha, which was the only deck I could find, only Oracle deck I could find in my collection that felt like it like could sit next to the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum and not like it's like the only one that had the bright enough colors and the shiniest cardstock that looked like it would just even sit next to it. And I'm sorry for my failing light, but I mean, this did a really good job, but I feel like my time with this deck might be nearing an end. It's really beautiful, but it just kept falling flat for me, and it was Holy Spectrum was totally stealing the show, like for real, for real. There's a few other quick honorable mentions deck-wise that I want to talk about before I close out the video. I had a lot of fun playing around with the Disney Villains tarot deck. This was a Don Michelle made me do it, which I think Don Michelle's been making everybody buy this deck, it seems like. But the Disney Villains, this is an Inside Editions deck, and it's really good. The associations are good. The pips have like meaning. They're not lazy. There's characters throughout the entire deck. There's a few places where it goes pipish, but when it does, it like makes sense. It doesn't feel out of place. They line up right, you know, like it works, which is really fun. This is a fun deck to work with. Super glad that I got it, and makes me have some hope for the Buffy the Buffy tarot that I'm really excited about. So that's the Villains Tarot. Had a lot of fun playing with this. I'm going to continue to play with it. I also spent a little bit of time with the Gentle Tarot, the little mini in a tin, and the guidebook, this really nice, big, beautiful guidebook that Mari put out not that long ago through Kickstarter, I feel like. This is a gorgeous guidebook. There's a lot of really great information and entries in here. I'm not a fan of working with this little mini though. I think it's just a little too small and the cardstock's a little too stiff for me to enjoy. But that's a personal taste kind of thing, so I prefer reaching for my full size. I may have to scoop up that linen one because I've been hearing lots of good stuff about the linen version. I got a chance to touch it, the linen version in person, and I really liked the feel of it, but I was like, I already have the mini and I hadn't worked with the mini yet. So now that I've worked with the mini, I do think I would prefer the linen edition if I wanted a handleable one. But I'm like, do I need that? Because then I have my full size. I can't make up my mind. But the guidebook is good. The deck is good. It's just about which physical version of it I want to play with. But this is awesome, and I definitely wanted to give it a shout out. And the last deck I had to highlight here because I've reached for it way more than I originally thought I was going to. And it is the Brother to Brother Oracle by our own Levi, who is Masculine Intuition Readings here on Masculine Intuition. Is it just Masculine Intuition? Oh, my memory, y'all. I'll put it on the screen or I'll put it in the description box down below. But anyways, Levi made this cute oracle. It's square format, and I have definitely reached for this several times, including twice, I think, for client readings recently. And it's just been really lovely to work with. So I definitely recommend you check this one out, particularly if you're looking for something, if you're looking for something with more of like a masculine vibe, but while still being kind of soft and supportive. It's not the kind of combination you normally see, and I really like that. And I believe at the time I'm filming this, Levi's Kickstarter for his tarot deck has either just launched or is about to launch or something. So keep an eye out on that because he's done a tarot deck that looks like it would complement this little oracle deck really, really well. But the production value on this is gorgeous. I love the way that the box is designed. I have not, to be fair though, worked with the guidebook because my old lady eyes cannot. I cannot. The text is too small. I'm like, yes, I have reading glasses. Is it readable? Yes, but I have to very precisely get it in the right spot or not be lazy and use my glasses like I'm supposed to. But I'm just saying I'm lazy and I haven't used the guidebook much, but I am a fan of guidebooks. I will definitely check it out at some point, but this has been a great little deck in my collection and it's been getting a lot of play. So definitely wanted to point that one out. And that is it. I've got to go before it gets full dark in front of me because I've had lots of little hiccups throughout the filming of this video and my light is like, see ya. Anyways, thank you so, so much for hanging out for this show and tell. As always, I will have links to everything I talked about down below. Whenever you click an Amazon link in my description box, that is an affiliate link. So are my book depository links, and those things just help support the channel. And I really appreciate when you do that. That's really helpful. If you're going to be shopping for the item anyways, I appreciate the support, but don't ever feel obligated. Those are just great little ways to help out here for what I do. But anyways, thank you so, so much for hanging out. I appreciate you all very, very much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye!